Alright, so now that we've built our fire lay, I'm going to real quickly talk about what a fire needs. This is my anatomy of fire section. It's pretty easy, pretty quick. So fire needs three things: heat, fuel, and oxygen. Our heat in this situation is going to be coming from our hand drill set in the form of a coal. The fuel is our kindling here, and the oxygen comes from airflow. So when we built our fire lay, we made sure that there was going to be enough oxygen able to get into it from the sides and from the front that it won't smother the fire. That is a problem a lot of people have, is when they build their fires, they either put on too much material too quick and smother it because it can't get enough oxygen, or they're putting on too large of material. So it has to have good oxygen flow. Fuel in the form of burnable material. In this case, we are using eastern red cedar twigs. You want to go up in increments in fuel size. You want to start with something small, pencil size and thinner. Then from there, you want to work up to about finger size, then thumb, and you can go wrist, and then larger as you need. But if you jump from one size to another too quickly, say you go from pencil size to thigh thickness really fast, that's a pretty big log. Those little burning pencil sized twigs are not going to ignite it, and your fire will go out. So for heat, that's going to be our ignition source. Like I said, this time it's going to be our hand drill set in the form of a coal. And I'll explain more about a coal later, but for now just think of a burning cigarette. The end of it is what our coal is, essentially. It's just burning dust that has condensed itself, made itself somewhat solid. You could also use, say, a lighter for your ignition source. Now, lighters aren't the topic of our video, but that brings up a good point, is once you learn friction fire, you still shouldn't rely solely on friction fire. I've been making friction fire for 6 years. I'm pretty good at it. You'll never catch me dead in a wilderness area without some kind of alternate form of fire lighting. Typically, it's going to be either an adjustable lighter like this, where you can make the flame bigger or smaller. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera. Or it'll be a ferro rod, or a flint and steel kit, or some combination of them. Hand drill is a fantastic skill. Bow drill is a fantastic skill. Even when you're very practiced with them, there is no 100% guarantee that they will work for you every time. I've been able to make a bow drill work in some really awful conditions. Really wet, rainy days, blizzards, all sorts of things. But you don't want to rely on that, especially if you're just learning this stuff. So, that was just my quick little anatomy of fire and a quick spiel on, being smart about friction fire. Don't rely solely on it. Always have a backup. Unless you're like me and stupid and you like to test yourself and go without much gear. I just made a video for the Junkyard Fox channel here recently where I used just 2 water bottles, metal cup, wool blanket, and a knife. Spent an overnight trip in the desert along a creek without a fire source. I had to make a hand drill on the spot. It worked just fine, but you shouldn't rely on that. Anyway, so the next part of our series here is going to be setting up our hand drill set for success, getting it burned in, building a tinder bundle, and making fire. If you stuck with me this far, hang in there a little bit longer. We're almost to the good part. Click, click,